Climate Conversations on the Business Breakfast.
With Dubai Holding and in partnership with the World Future Energy Summit, the leading event for future energy and sustainability. Together for the good of tomorrow.
And one company that is synonymous with sustainability, not just in the UAE but globally, is Masdar. Delighted to be joined in the studio by the Chief Executive Officer of Masdar City, Ahmed Baghoum. Ahmed, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Very good morning. Thank you for hosting me today, Richard.
So we're counting down to COP28. It's only weeks to go now. Just before we do that, let's talk about Masdar and let's talk about Masdar City and the distinction between the two. You're the CEO of Masdar City. Tell us more.
Masdar City, of course, was created 2009 along with Masdar City, again 2006. And of course, it's one of the key objectives for UAE and Abu Dhabi is to diversify away from oil, build talent, and of course, create a knowledge-based economy. That's along the line of 2030 vision for Abu Dhabi at that time. Today, Masdar, as our sister company, is available or having projects in over 40 countries with more than 25 gigawatt of renewable energy projects deployed in these 40 countries. While Masdar City here, which is homegrown sustainable urban development, is really leading academia, leading R&D, over 1,000 companies that are in our free zone. We have different clusters. Last week, we've announced the SABI project with ADIO and DED in Abu Dhabi, which is the smart and autonomous vehicle industries, leading, of course, sustainability, and of course, leading towards the year of sustainability and COP28 next month.
COP28, of course, is a massive deal for you. The UAE, as a country, has a net zero target by 2050. You haven't got there yet as Masdar City, but you do have a few net zero buildings, and you say it's not easy.
It is not easy. When we started, Richard, again, 2010, when we had the first building, it was really hard because the technologies were not available at that time. We were learning as we were building more and more our built environment. We built then the next headquarter, which was the Siemens MENA headquarter in Masdar City. That building was LEED Gold, and it was able to really save up to 40% of water and energy. It was really a benchmark at that time. Today, we have most of our built environment are LEED Platinum. We have the highest concentration or density of LEED Platinum buildings, maybe in the MENA region. We are towards COP28 preparing ourselves. We have the first net zero building. Again, it's easier said than done, Richard. It's a lot of knowledge, a lot of data that we need to capture throughout the years to be able to really create and come up with the net zero building in Masdar City.
It's not easy. It's also not cheap. Let's be honest. If you want your buildings to be LEED is one of the global benchmarks for an environmentally friendly building. If you want to be LEED Gold or LEED Platinum, there is an additional cost involved in that. How do you manage that? Yes, you want to be net zero, but you're the chief executive of a company. You've got a bottom line. You've got your targets. You can't just throw infinite money at the problem. How do you manage that?
Definitely, that's a very good question. I think this is what we get often asked. In several occasions, and this was the core objective for us from day one, Richard, is to create sustainable city that is financially viable. We wanted to create a city that could be replicated somewhere else, create the blueprint of sustainable urban development. I can tell you today that for us, sustainability is of three pillars. Social sustainability, we allow people to walk, we allow people to work, and we allow people to also enjoy the city. It's economical sustainability, which is, as a company, you need to maintain your profit margins, and of course the environmental sustainability. So for us, gathering all the data, creating the master plan from scratch, we were able to really create profitable and of course financially viable commercial buildings at LEED Platinum and LEED Gold standards.
How do you make this an attractive place to live and work while reducing demand for energy and water? And I'll give you two examples. I like wide open green spaces, grass and trees, they're lovely. And a lot of us do like that kind of exposure to nature, but that requires water. I like having a nice cool home to sleep in and a nice air-conditioned office to work in, but that requires energy. How do you manage that?
That's again, it's part of the plot, Richard, really. part of the sustainability within Masdar City, we must create at least 20 to 30% of greenery around the city to make it financially viable, to make it socially acceptable by residents and occupants. So for us, sustainability is, and part of it, of course, is the environmental sustainability. We have created parks that are green parks and for families to come and really spend time. So it is part of the story for us in Masdar City is to create not only buildings but to create also interactions and walkable offerings for residents as well as for business companies and even from outside the city. So it is all about creating a very holistic city, very sustainable city that people will enjoy living and visiting.
What have you learned about irrigating those green spaces in a way that you can never eliminate the need for water, but reduces the need for water? You've been going for nearly 15 years now. What have you learned?
Again, to start with, is always with the design. The whole city was designed to be highly sustainable and green. We have, even before we start the operation, we have managed till date to really recycle over 90% of our construction waste. And we are doing the same thing with the operation waste, which is water is one of them. So we are recycling the water for irrigation. And we are using almost 90% or more of that for our irrigation. So we don't need to really irrigate and use water for irrigation. That's number one. Number two, we are using plants that are really native plants that use the least amount of water. So again, we've learned throughout the number of years how do we really create that. And of course, automation and smart is part of that to make sure that we don't waste even the irrigation water for irrigating our plants.
And you can do this on site, can you, recycling the water?
We have done that, yes, off site. We are doing that off site. We are also, as I said before, we are also recycling our construction waste at site. We are reusing like concrete and steel for our roads, for our irrigation, plants, and we are using that also for our different gravels for our landscaping.
A final question. COP28, big deal for you. What are you planning?
The UAE and the region will be hosting such a great platform, which is COP28 in almost a month time. And we are getting ready for that. As you know, we have a lot of activities with COP28 themselves, with all the different entities within Abu Dhabi. We will be also showcasing our first net zero building that is being handing over now. We have the Masdar City Festival, that we will also be interacting and building awareness about the UAE initiatives so far when it comes to sustainability and climate change.
Looking forward to that one very much indeed, and I'm sure we will speak because you'll be down here in Dubai at Expo City for that event. But for now, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you coming down to Dubai from Abu Dhabi this morning to be with us. Ahmed Baghoum is the Chief Executive Officer of Masdar City. Shukran jazilan.
Thank you. Shukran.